Greetings and welcome to the Virginia Hospital and Healthcare Association's Patients Come First podcast series. Podcast episodes are available on VHHA.com and on popular podcast hosting apps including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, and many others. Episodes of the podcast also air each Saturday at noon and Sunday at 10 a.m. on 100.5 FM, 92.7 FM, and 820 a.m. across Central Virginia. Please send any questions, comments, or feedback to PCFpodcast@VHHA.com. Again, that's PCFpodcast@VHHA.com. And since 2021 is an election year in Virginia, we're doing a special podcast spin-off series. We've invited every declared statewide candidate for the offices of Governor, Lieutenant Governor, and Attorney General to participate and speak with healthcare voters about their campaign and ideas. Today, we're pleased to be joined by Merle Rutledge, a Republican candidate for Virginia Governor who has Pennsylvania County roots, is a Norfolk State University graduate, and a community advocate and volunteer who bills himself as a pro-constitutionalist conservative. And with that introduction, welcome to the program, Merle.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate you making a few moments for us. Now, Merle, I just gave listeners a brief bio sketch about you, but I'm sure there are things I may have left out, and I want you to have the chance to add anything else you'd like Virginia voters to know about you, and for you to be able to make your elevator pitch for why you are the best candidate among the many declared Republican contenders for governor.
Okay, well, I'm not a politician. I guess a lot of people hear that from everybody, but it's legitimate when it comes down to me. I'm a ground zero type of guy. I like to earn everything. I don't feel any kind of way entitled. I believe every person should be treated equally and fairly, and I continue to fight for those who feel like they don't have a voice out there when it comes down to their local or state or even federal government. I've been doing it for over 2 decades, where I have fought the schools, I have helped to secure gun rights, I have basically done everything that most people wish that they could do in life, as far as just being a public servant. And I did it while not being elected. So, yes, I'm billed as a pro-constitutionalist, but I'm also called the way I see it. So I stick to my guns, I don't flip-flop, and I tend to be, not politically correct, but I think it's about time that we have somebody give out real answers to the questions that's going on today.
Hi, I'm Julie Dime, VHHA Vice President of Government Advocacy. They say there's an election every year in Virginia, and 2021 is no exception. In November, voters will choose Virginia's next governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general, as well as district representatives for all 100 seats in the House of Delegates. Before that, though, there are party nominating contests this spring. On May 8th, Republicans will hold an unassembled convention with voting locations across the state to elect nominees for 3 statewide offices. Participating in the process requires people to apply to be a convention delegate with their local GOP unit. Delegates will cast ranked choice ballots to determine the nominees. 1 month later, on June 8th, voters will select Democratic nominees for statewide offices in a primary election open to all registered voters. That same day, voters from both parties will determine nominees in the House of Delegates district races with intra-party contests. Visit the Virginia Department of Elections website to learn more about upcoming elections. And with those important elections on the calendar, your contribution to HOSPAC, VHHA's Political Action Committee, is more important than ever to support candidates who will work to improve health care in Virginia and support the critical work of hospitals and health systems. Any contribution, small or large, helps. Please visit VAHOSPAC.com to contribute. That's VAHOSPAC.com to contribute. Thanks so much.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. I want to shift here to healthcare for a moment. As you know, Merle, the Commonwealth has made some significant strides in recent years on improving healthcare access and affordability through coverage expansion, through a law ending surprise medical bills, through the recent approval of a reinsurance program to lower rising health insurance premiums, through policies and actions to respond to the COVID-19 pandemic, and much more. Looking ahead, if you were elected Governor Merle, how would you leverage the authority of that office to further advance healthcare in Virginia?
Well, the thing is, we had Obamacare, which basically threw everything out of whack. We need to eliminate Obamacare. I understand that most people are very happy with Medicaid expansion. But the fact is we got to let the private markets do what they do so prices can go down. And we also have enough different programs out there for those who need emergency care or preventive care already. And that's without the Obamacare law. Right now, prices as far as healthcare costs is going to continue to skyrocket. We haven't seen any changes that were significant for those who are receiving care under the previous healthcare law that was enacted by Obama. Right now, we're seeing people who are getting better care without it, to be honest, by going to clinics or using other alternatives for medical needs. The fact is we got to regulate and make sure that hospitals, on the other hand, are basically being our advisors on bringing down healthcare costs compared to us dictating. Because that's what we don't do. We ignore the professionals instead of taking in their opinion and then creating action. So hopefully we don't jump the gun anymore into big time laws and start looking at how can we actually bring down costs and do it at a level that people can actually feel in their wallet, as well as the hospital can still keep a profit and maintain great quality services.
Well, I appreciate you sharing your perspective there. If people want to learn more about you and your candidacy, Merle, is there a website or social media accounts where you direct them to?
Yes, it's Rutledge for VirginiaGovernor.com, but it's a short form, VAGovernor.com. You can find me on Twitter, YouTube. I always do an episode per week, and it's so many different ways. All you have to do is just Google my name, and you can reach me.
People who want to learn more about Merle Rutledge, as he said, Google him, and you'll be able to find information about him. And to close out the podcast, Merle, this is a fun personal question we ask all of our guests. If you were stranded on a deserted island, what one book, one album, and one movie would you take with you to keep yourself company? We will spot you a copy of the religious text of your choice. So other than that, Merle, what are your 3 entertainment survival kit picks?
Well, I would say common sense would be the first one that I think a lot of lawmakers are lacking at this time period. Basically being able to resolve problems without being destructive to yourself. I would say the second one would be, of course, my faith. Of course, I'm a Christian, and I believe in doing things under God's will, and of course, He will protect me. So I would say that would be very important to me. And 3, I would say making sure that my family is taken care of. I'm here to make sure they bury me, not the other way around. So with those 3, I think anybody will be fine as long as they put their priorities where it's needed.
The fundamentals. Understood. Well, Merle, we want to thank you for being with us, and that is going to bring us to the close of another episode of the Virginia Hospital and Healthcare Association's Patients Come First podcast. If you like what you heard, please make sure to leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and subscribe so that you know when new episodes are available. And again, thanks to our guest, Merle Rutledge, a Republican candidate for governor of Virginia, for joining us today. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.